Another one of our cases that a lot of you guys know about is James Stacy. James is a medical marijuana patient. He basically had opened up a collective to try to help. He's one of the nicest guys I know. James was arrested by the local and the DEA. James is one of the people that faces federal charges here in Southern California and San Diego currently. He's facing life in jail for trying to help people. And this is one of the people we're trying to help here. James, come on up here. James, can you take a couple minutes and go into this and let people know about what happened here? We're here to support James. This is James Stacy, everybody.
Hello everybody, my name's James Stacy. I want to give you a little background on myself. I have an associate degree in robotics and fluid power, another one electromechanical. And I started out as I started out trying to help people by making the country stronger by automating our factories so that way people could have jobs. When that didn't work out as well as I'd like, I started teaching martial arts. I've been doing that for 11 years. And I had an after-school program where I'd pick kids up from school. They'd come in and do their martial art classes, do their homework so they can improve their lives. I even did a summer camp where I'd work like 14 hours a day. I always told the kids that, things like alcohol, tobacco, tattoos, and marijuana were things they were too young to make a decision about. So I never felt like a hypocrite when I went to a doctor for all the injuries that I've acquired over the years, and I got a prescription or a recommendation for marijuana. I was actually in a really bad part of my life. I put on a bunch of excess weight. I had a lot of chronic pain injuries. And when I got my recommendation for marijuana, it fixed that. I was able to lose 40 pounds in a year and a half. I was able to increase my workouts because I didn't have the pain issues. And my life had gotten a lot better. Now, at this point, I had a lot of people in my life who had suffered and died from cancer. My father's mother died from cancer. My martial arts instructor died from cancer. My aunt died from cancer. My mother-in-law had to have a mastectomy. My father-in-law has had 2 major surgeries where they took out tumors bigger than a football. My mom is a breast cancer survivor, and I wanted to help people. So after the president came out and he made his statements about not going after medical marijuana, the Attorney General said, yes, he's my boss and we're not going to go after medical marijuana. The Supreme Court told San Diego and Riverside County that they had to follow state law. We opened up the collective. I don't know how many of you guys know about, in May 20th, the president wrote a memo to the heads of executive departments telling them not to prosecute or go after medical marijuana. And for those who don't know, the DEA is an executive department. So this was a memo directly written to them that they've chosen to ignore. I gotta see where I'm at here. With all the information, we opened the collective. We were only open 10 weeks, and then we were raided. When we were raided, because I'm a martial arts instructor, they had one officer pull me over and arrest me. That was at 10:45. They didn't sign federal warrants for me until 11 o'clock. So 15 minutes before I was, or 15 minutes after I was arrested, they switched over to federal warrants. At 12 o'clock, they went to my house. My wife, who's a travel agent, has nothing to do with marijuana, had nothing to do with the collective. We had 20 officers come into our house with drawn guns, pointing their guns at my wife, yelling at her to let them in. She was so scared she let them in. They immediately handcuffed her, sat her down on the sofa. She asked if they had a warrant, and they said, no, one's on the way. She was there. They were searching our house for over 30 minutes. She kept asking, where's the warrant? Aren't you supposed to show me a warrant before you search the house? And they said, we're not searching the house, we're securing the house. They went through her purse and got her driver's license out. They had done all this, then they showed up with a state warrant. Now the state warrants have evaporated. They can't find them anywhere because now they have is the federal warrants. My wife has nothing to do with this, but they wanted to make her suffer as much as possible. They had 20 officers in riot gear in our house. It was a really bad situation. I had a former student who's a U.S. Deputy Marshal who's retired, and when he found out about all this, he did some research, and he came back and told me that I'm a test case. And what that means is they're testing whether or not our president and our attorney general run this country, or the DEA does. Let that sink in for a second. The DEA does not care what our president says. They do not care what the attorney general says. All they care about is their budget and whether or not they can continue to prosecute us. The people who own the prisons don't want real criminals in there because they're all privately owned. So they want to make sure that the people they put in there are marijuana people trying to follow the law. I don't know if you guys heard about recently, the DEA arrested a Colorado man, and a guy named Jeffrey Sweeten, the DEA special agent in charge, stated, "It's not medicine. We're still going to continue to investigate and arrest people." They also said, "The time is coming when we go into a dispensary, we find out what their profit is, we seize the building, and we arrest everybody. They're violating federal law, they're at risk and for arrest and imprisonment." We're not done with this battle. We're right in the middle of it. This is right now, as we sit here today, this is the most important thing that's going on in our lives. I don't know how many of you guys know about HR 3939? Does anybody know what that is? HR 3939 is the Truth in Trials Act. It is what will allow us to stop the feds in their tracks, because it will give you an affirmative defense in federal court. If you have not already done it, you need to, when you go home, go to the Norml webpage and sign, and they have a take action section, and you can send a letter out to your congressman and senator asking them to co-sponsor this. We have to get this passed, because short of that, they're going to continue to come after us. We're the low-hanging fruit. We're the easy victims. They can arrest us and fill up the prisons. There's also a couple things coming up that's very important to me. One of them is March 26th. March 26th is the day that I go to federal court and I ask them to give me a defense. In federal court, you don't get to defend yourself unless they say you can. You have to ask permission to get the defense that you want. I'm also trying to ask everybody to use March 26th from 12 noon to 2 o'clock to do a national day of protest against these illegal DEA raids. If we do not come up and get out of the cannabis closet, we're going to continue to be attacked. There's just no doubt about it. We all have to come out of the cannabis closet. The DEA has the largest budget going. Their budget is ever increasing. They steal all our property. I don't know if you know this. You get arrested, you have 30 days from the time you're arrested to argue about the money that they take from you. This is before you're even charged, before you're even convicted. They steal your money. They steal all your property. It's not a fair system. They just steal everything they can from you. There's a gentleman that's up here that's Still Smith. He's going to have our next conversation. He's got his trial coming up March the 9th. We need to go out and we need to support Still. He's a guy that has been fighting this battle since 2006. Okay. And he's doing me a big favor, because he's fighting it and he's getting allowed to use the medical marijuana defense in federal court. If they allow him to talk about it, then they'll allow me to talk about it. If I don't get to talk about medical marijuana in court, all they're going to do is say, this man sold marijuana, he had these plants, and I won't be able to say anything. We won't be able to present any kind of defense. So it is not a fair or equitable situation for anybody. It is a situation where they are stacking us up and knocking us down. They have a 98% conviction rate because they're the ones that control all of it. The only way that we can get out of this is if you guys support HR 3939, the Truth in Trials Act. Okay? Thank you.
James, again, when's your court date?
March 26th in the federal courthouse in San Diego. It starts at 8:30 in the morning.
So all of you guys out of San Diego, please be there at court for James. Let me hear everybody out there.